Hello again, everybody. Jeremiah Plunkett and Quentin Charisma. Once again, we are smack dab along ringside and ready to go with another big week of the Territorial Rasslin Review podcast. And Quentin, it is the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Oh no, do we got a Grinch?
You go to Walmart. Not even going to the park and trying to get to the parking lot. That's all you got to say.
Yeah, no, don't do that. No, we
what?
Don't, huh?
Don't do what?
Don't do what? You don't go to Walmart or any big box store.
Well, you got to. You got to pick your wife up from work. You got to.
That's true. My wife went to Costco today. That was a thing that she did without me, and I'm glad.
Why?
I didn't want to deal with those people.
You're a people person, though. You like people. I don't.
Yeah, totally. Not at all.
I can handle people, but dumb people, nah.
Yeah, no, I can't do it. But man, it's a time to celebrate, time to be happy. We've talked about doing this episode for, a long time.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been for a long time because almost 2 years, because this is our 2-year anniversary for the podcast.
That's it. So yeah, that's right. We made it 2 years.
Yeah. And we've been talking about this for about 2 years. So,
well, if you want to be real about this conversation, we've had this conversation way more than longer than 2 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely.
I think I learned.
I'm always up for some belt talk.
Yeah, you and I are. We're a couple belt marks.
I am, but I'm not like when you on the internet, you like those, especially like in the Facebook pages, the belt Facebook pages. Those guys are just I'm not like that. Were they?
You mean the guys who just kind of like ooh and ah over them? They're like, hey, look at this thing I just bought, and ooh ah like that.
Yeah, it's like, and they're like, get like something neat and old made. Don't get something you see on TV. I don't know. That's the way I am. I don't. But most of it's all for new belts.
I get it, but I'll say this: a lot of the better pictures I found were, honestly, they're reproductions.
Yeah.
But when I see those pictures, I ooh and ah, and it's an older belt. You know what I mean? But I'm like, if I had the disposable income that some of these guys apparently have, I could see starting that as a collection.
I could see doing the old belts, but man, the majority is all new belt.
I've wanted to do some of and I've wanted to do this for years, and it'll probably never happen because I'm tight with money. Get recreations, or if I can get the originals of some of the belts I've been fortunate enough to hold, and that runs the gamut on good to garbage. But the old Trophy Shop USWO belt is one of my favorite belts, and it's the one on white leather is super Trophy Shop.
Yeah,
but it's
look good.
Tim Thomas and Kroll did a very good job. He always did, but I love that belt.
Yeah,
and that's one of the ones I want to get recreated.
Who's got it?
I don't know. Kroll sold a lot of stuff. Sold or gave away a lot of stuff because I wanted to make a move on the TV title I held. I wanted to make a move on the Southern title, even though it wasn't the design I prefer. I wanted to make a move, and I have no idea who owns these. The Southern tag titles that Mike Cersei had.
Yeah.
For NWA Top Rope, they had that Chikara plate style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, those are probably my favorite belts that I've personally held, just look wise.
Wow.
They're on that blue strap. You know what I mean? They were nice. You held a set of tag titles at one point, and I'm not stealing anything that's on your list. Or either held them or you owned them, maybe. I'm trying to remember, but you said they had a red, white, and blue strap.
Oh, it's the old Memphis Southern tag belts.
Okay, so they were the actual belts, or they were recreations?
No, it was the actual. You can get the story about it.
Yeah. Let's do. Hey, this show's all about belts. Let's do some stories before we get into our rankings.
Okay. So it was in '93. I was in Shelbyville. I think maybe fall, and they was doing the old either cruiserweight or junior heavyweight. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was junior heavyweight. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so they put the belt on me, that gimmick. The belt they were using was Donnie Ernesto's,
or Donnie Eaton, depending on the day.
Yeah, either Donnie Eaton or Donnie Ernesto. He mostly worked as Donnie Ernesto around here. He off and on. Sometimes he'd go couple years doing Ernesto, then he'd pop back up and he'd be at Don Eaton for a little bit, and then he'd go off and then come pop back up again a year later or something. He'd be down, switch back and forth every time. Anyway, well, he had a belt, and it was the red, white, and blue, but it had, was it the bottom or top? It had like a little thin trophy plate piece, and it either said cruiserweight or junior heavyweight stuck on it. So I never put two and two together. He was working Chevrolet, so he was letting him use his belt. So they put it on me, and then like a couple weeks later, he wasn't booked anymore, and he said, just you can just keep the belt, so you gotta have it for so he let us use it. And one day, noticed the thing was coming off. I was like, that is barely on there. I pulled it off. It was like a little piece of sticky tape holding the little. I mean, it was like the size of, if you probably put two pieces of gum together, two gum wrappers, that's probably how the size of it was. And underneath it said, I think it said tag champion. It was on the top of the box. I can't remember which part it was. And I was like, I kept putting two together, and it was old. It was old and it was beat to death. And I kept putting two together. And then I was like, and I finally saw a picture. I was like, this is the old AWA Southern tag belts. Because see, Donnie's mom married Tom Ernesto Sr. And so I'm assuming when he was booking for Jarrett, was it 84, 85-ish? He was booking for Jarrett. I guess that he must have took one of the belts, or might have took both. I don't know, from the office. But he had it, and Donnie had it. I guess they got it from Tom Sr. But yeah, that was the belt. It's the same ones. If you watch the old the original cassette stand brawl, those are the belts. They were I guess like they weren't old at all during the cassette stand brawl, but it was one of those. And here's the thing. So I had that belt in my bag, and I'd work Shelbyville. Then I'd be off for a while. I'd come back maybe 6 months, 8 months, whatever later. I kept it in my bag, and I was like, okay, I'll see Donnie. I'll because they stopped doing the gimmick. I had to slide the belt. They just stopped using the gimmick, so I just kept the belt, right? I figured, well, eventually I'll run into Donnie, up down the road sometime. I kept it in my bag. This is 93, right? It's been in my bag. I carried it in my bag all the way till 97. We used it in McMinnville when Troy and Mark Gordy was running McMinnville. I let them use it for that. We used it a couple times in Columbia for Freddie Morton. We used it a couple times then, but it didn't get used. I maybe used it probably 4 or 5 times, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it stayed in my bag. I never ran into Donnie, and I was in Shelbyville one time. This was toward I'll say spring of '97. I had made some tag belts, and they were really trophy shop because they were from a trophy. The plates were from a trophy shop. I was going to get rid of them. I was selling them, and Glenn Mullins was wanting to buy them because I want to buy your tag and that red, white, and blue belt. I said, well, that red, white, and blue belt's not mine. I said, that belt, that's Donnie Eaton's belt. He said, I know that's that one. I said, yeah, that's the same one. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. Because I was leaving Shelbyville. That was my last night there, and he was wanting to buy the belts because he'd been using the tag ones. And so I told him, I told you, I'm going to share the tag. I'm going to give you this Donnie's belt because I haven't seen him in 4 years. Now, if he ever comes asking for it, you got to give it to him. I'm going to tell him, if I ever run to him something, I'm going to tell him that Glenn Mullins has your belt in Shelbyville. He's the promoter. Everybody knows Glenn. Glenn said, I'll do it. I'll give it to him. I said, all right. So maybe probably even a year later, somebody stole the tag belts that I made, and the original AWA Southern tag team belt from Shelbyville.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So somebody's got, and from what I heard, the other one got destroyed. So there was only one left, and that was it. So
somebody just jacked a piece of history.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yes, I had that belt in my possession for 4 years. So it was in my bag. I kept it in my bag for 4 years.
That's insane. Did Donnie ever ask you what happened to it?
I'll say one time, and it was, when was it? I tell you what it was. It was Petersburg. When we were working Petersburg, he showed up. He came up for Moondog Spot, Nathan, when he passed away back in 07, 08-ish. He came up for that funeral, so he was there. He never asked. I never said anything to him. He was going to tell. I was going to tell him that I gave it to Glenn and Glenn got it stolen. So I was going to tell him, but he never asked. So I was like, if he ain't asked, I ain't even going to start nothing, bring it up.
Man,
so.
just to think about who, because we probably know who stole it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, we probably know the person who yanked those belts.
But then again, I don't know.
You think somebody could have just gotten to the cab shop and?
Man, they don't. I know at that time period. I know in the early '90s, you could go up there anytime. You just go in there, get in the ring. You just walk in the door. So I don't know, if they that. I'm sure they could, if they got in the cab stand, walk in. The dressing rooms weren't locked.
Oh yeah, no, there wasn't even, when I was there wasn't even doors on them.
Yeah, but this time there were 2 doors, and they were just like plywood made doors. So there was no locks or even doorknobs. There's a little door handle on it, like a little hook handle. So yeah, somebody could easily went there and got them. So that's what I'm saying. It might not have been one of the boys,
And I always think it was one of the boys because Glenn screwed him on a payday.
That's probably true, or he fired him because they got over.
That's pretty accurate as well.
Yeah. So, but if it ever turns up, somebody trying to sell it, I hope they get called out on it being stolen. So.
Man, now I'm gonna be Googling that. Because that'll be funny. I just Googled the belt. It had 2 like Olympic torches on each side and whatnot.
Trying to think by that. Some of them, I think the torches were knocked off. Were all knocked off by then.
Well,
it was a bad shape.
So there was a set from 78 to 81. It's actually maybe the same set. 78 to 81. It's got like 2 torches, a little circle thing in the middle.
They redid them in 89.
Yep. And they put the pentagram on it.
Yeah, that was Chris Champion. He put pentagrams on them.
Makes sense.
That's what him and when Mark Starr with the new Wild Side, they put pentagrams on them. But yeah, those were brand new belts, and they didn't use them long because it was right after that they changed the USWA, which that never stopped him before using a belt with the wrong name on it. But they didn't use them long. So
yeah, Memphis was always pretty good about that.
Or somebody ran off with them.
Yeah,
which could happen too.
Yeah, Memphis was always pretty good about that. I'm sure, knowing me and you, that we will have some belts on our list that may have been used under different names that no one cared about.
Oh, I know. I definitely did.
So as far as how we're going to do this, I'm going to share my screen with Quentin. You won't see any of this because this will be edited, but I think I'm kind of telling it for us too. The best way I've decided to do this, we share the screen. We're to go from 5 up, and then we both got some honorable mentions. I assume Quentin probably has more than I do. But so do you? Would you like
5 was hard, dude. 5 was hard narrowing it down.
Yeah. Would you like to go first or second?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. Let's go. Let me go ahead and share this.
We'll go 5, me 5, you 4.
Yeah.
Like that?
I think so.
All right.
All right. So let's see. Boom. Screen will be shared. Quentin will be freaked out because everything's going to go weird. All right. So my number 5, and I just recently kind of discovered this belt, is the Mid-Atlantic Television Championship. And actually, I do. I took a few notes, not a lot, but a few. I don't just trying to remember where I saved them. Well, because actually, for some of these belts, there's not a lot out there.
I know, man. I found that out too. I couldn't believe there's not a lot of pictures and all the information.
Yeah, well, okay. So this Mid-Atlantic Television Championship, and obviously because of the belts that it preceded, there's just not a lot out there. I like it a lot because of A, the color. B, I really like the oval shapes. I'm guessing they were on NBC at the time.
Is this a replica you're showing me though?
Yeah, what I'm showing you, I'm assuming it's a replica. It's from Dave Milliken's site, so it's either a replica made from the design work or the original.
It's got to be a replica because I tell you right now, that belt made that clean looking.
Oh, probably not. You're probably right. But like I said, I did take this was from 74 to 77.
If it was Milliken, it most likely it's accurate.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. But I do find it weird that it's it's a Mid-Atlantic Television Championship, but there's nothing that signifies Mid-Atlantic on it. And I mean, Mid-Atlantic wasn't on cable, were they?
Well, so they were like a lot of you were on different channels in your territories.
Right. Okay.
You know, now different. You know, before cable came out, so you know they were, you know, they like everybody else. You know, they either had dual studio shows or they bicycled everything out. You know, which I think they might have had 2 different studios at one time up until maybe mid 70s. I think for some
Right.
reason it's sticking in my head, or they might have changed studios or something. But yeah, so and then another thing, you know, they could have got it from somebody else, and you know, somebody come in the territory with it.
That's true.
And they
Yeah.
used it, you know, because it's a TV title. There wasn't a lot of TV titles back then, and when you say a lot of them back then were trophies when they did have a TV title.
Or
I mean,
what was UW? What was Mid South? Metal, right?
metal,
Like a
medallion, yeah, metal. But I'm saying,
go Smoky
there wasn't
Mountain.
a
It was
lot
an envelope.
yeah, it was beat the champ check or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But see, because in the 70s you didn't have a lot of TV champions. So, and when you did, like I said, what few I've stumbled across, there were trophies in the 70s. So that's what I'm thinking. It might have been somebody's belt. They might have been in the territory and they used it for a while or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Like I said, I discovered this belt for the first time when I was just perusing eBay.
Yeah.
And just looking at the different replicas, and I'm like, what's this? And I started diving down to find out what it was. And there's just not much. There's not much history on the television championship period, because I did try to look up when the changes were made. Because there was that one, I think it was Georgia's, that it said World Championship Wrestling on it, and it was really colorful.
The one that was the actual background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then it went from that one to the design we all know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So. And I was trying to see when those
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I wanted to see when those switches happen, but like it doesn't show a lot of it. Like there's not a lot of history on it.
Did you go to Kayfabe Memories Belt Gallery?
I went to a couple different places. Yeah.
They don't have like specific. They kind of ballpark some of the dates.
Yeah.
But that belt though, for a 70s belt, that's got a lot of color in it.
Well, yeah, and it's cast, which 70s didn't have a lot of cast belts, right? They hadn't got to that point yet.
Well, no, because that's like if I'm looking at it, that's kind of like all those 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
What's that?
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's very much like the southern and central states, and
yeah.
When you look at the base model of it.
Yeah.
No,
so it's probably Reggie Park's belt.
Yeah, most likely. Okay. And if that's the case, I know Reggie and Dave were really tight. So with this being a replica, I bet he has the exact artwork.
It looks really good for that time. For that time period, that was a really nice belt for that time period.
Yeah. Like I said, the colors I think beats it a lot too. Like if this had come out with no background colors, I probably wouldn't have selected it. But the color goes a long way with me on some of these, because on some of these, that's the only difference. You know what I mean? Like some of these belts back in the day.
Yeah.
Once you got in the cast anyway.
Yeah.
But so that was my number 5 Mid-Atlantic Television Championship. So Quentin, my friend, what is your number 5? And like I said before, because Quentin just sent me a whole bunch of pictures. If I don't know what the belt is, I'm going to have to ask him to tell me what picture to select. But what is the belt?
Okay. My number 5 is the NWA Mid-America Tag Team belts that were used in the Nick Gulas side of the territory, the east side of the territory. And then later on in the 80s, Jerry Jarrett pulled them out of his desk drawer and made them the international tag team belts. So
would I be correct in assuming if I pulled up this picture that has Nick Gulas in it?
Nope, that's not that.
Okay, which picture is it?
The Samoans.
The Samoans? Okay. Oh, okay. That is them.
Mid-America belts. That's when they were the Mid-America belts for Gulas. Mid-America tag belts. That is, Samoans was, how do you say their name? Tepu or Tio or whatever. And
Tapa
that
and
man
Tio?
was Ken Hawk. Huh?
Tapa and Tio, I believe, is what I've heard.
Oh, okay. It's something like that. And that's the manager in that picture is Ken Hawk. But yeah, that was the and you will see those belts, even those actually, I think before they were the Mid-America, I think they were Gulas's World Heavyweight tag belts.
Okay.
Before that. But those belts, whoever made them made several versions of them, because I've seen them, people out west. There's you see that and says,
okay,
so World on that.
Okay.
On that. Yeah.
So
So
I didn't know if you sent me those together on purpose or
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Okay.
But
I mean, that's the
I've
same
seen them.
design.
Yeah, it's the same belt.
And honestly, if you, and I can't really zoom on my screen too well, but
Well,
if you look on it, it does look like where it said world on those other belts, they've attached
mhm.
something covering it up.
Yeah,
So I bet those were the same belts.
yeah. But yeah, because the world champ, NWA world champ was different, but it seemed like every territory had their NWA tag world champions, around in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So Gillis had his, of course, and those were used for that. And then I guess when he made them to the Mid America belts, and I've seen those belts in other places too in the 70s. I think it was in Texas, maybe. And I'm thinking there was a couple sets probably looking like that floating
Yeah,
around.
that's 100% the same belt. Like I
Yeah.
just looked really close on them while you were talking, and those are 100. That they 100% put something over where it says world.
Yeah.
They just repurposed it.
Yeah.
That was the run and gun territory life, though, right?
Yeah. Good isn't going to spend no money for no belts.
They're just props, man. That's what all the old timers tell you.
It's just a gimmick. But,
It's just a gimmick, and I think until you are up high with it, like until you're like a world champion, touring world champion or something, then I feel like it's not just a gimmick anymore.
Oh yeah, when you're then that's a whole new ball game then.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm saying like even how the people who hold the belts seem, you know what I mean? Like you'll see the guys who hold the regional title, be like, yeah, I did that. But if they ever held the world title, like they're really serious about, you know what I mean? Like they feel it means something.
Yeah, well, if you were the world champion, you had the weight of the whole organization. Not just the territory you're from. You got the whole NWA organization on your.
Yeah.
That's why you never hear. I mean, Bruno did there for one. That was at one time Bruno asked for the belt to be taken off, but you never, but like AWA besides that one time when they said, well, Bruno asked to take time off, NWA champion always asked to take it off of them.
Yeah.
I think Flair's like the only one that said not to, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they're just running and gunning so hard.
Yeah, the 70s. I mean, because that's what Kinitsky didn't. He told him he couldn't do it no more, and then when they put it on Briscoe, he had it, and finally he couldn't do it no more. He said, "I heard this is what I've read." He told him
Terry too. Terry's just like, I can't.
Yeah, it's just because it's different in the 70s, man. I mean, but because like Bruno, he would go to Japan, he'd go, do little things here and there, but he stayed in his little corner of the country,
Yeah. Bruno was northeast, big markets, once a month towns.
Yeah. So I mean, NWA guy was going to every territory, 4 to 6 days in the territory, and just nuts, and some of those days were doubles because you had to do a TV that morning and then work their house show that night,
Yeah. So luckily, usually the champion didn't actually work in the ring on TV normally.
No, he just did the promos and the live interview at the studio, and then then cut the promo for the match that night or whenever it was, and the rest that But yeah, so still, but you got to be at the studio a certain time, and you're still, what I'm saying, you're still working. Traveling,
absolutely. You're coming straight off the plane, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't see how they did it. It's crazy.
I think that's why I hold Harley in such high regard, because I feel like he was the last true touring NWA world champion. Like Flair toured, but he was also in the Carolinas for all their big shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Flair was the last touring. Because you think, if you look at his, I've seen some of his scheduling in '83. Let's see, '83 and '84. Starcade was '83, right? When he won from Harley.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. Okay. So going to '84, he was doing Carolina, Florida. He did Memphis, Southeastern, Watts, World Class, Pacific Northwest for Don Owens, Central States. So that's 8 territories he was still working. You know what I'm saying? So I should consider him
Did he do Memphis by that point?
Yeah, because he worked Lawler on TV.
I see but that's Flair's second run, is it not?
That's what I'm talking about. His second run when he beat Harley.
Yeah, because I'm thinking they had already. I can't remember when they switched to AWA.
That was right. But they switched AWA and NWA two times in the 80s.
Okay, I didn't know they had switched back.
They switched like two. They switched like two times, and then like 85, they used both AWA and NWA in 85. So, because I think it wasn't 85 when Flair worked Coco.
I may have been.
And then 85 later toward the end of 85, Lawler worked Martel. So yeah, they were back and forth a lot. So, but yeah, Flair, like, he got the tail end of the traveling, and he went to Japan too. He was going to Japan too. So he might not have as many dates traveling, because I know Central States, I don't think they was running 6 to 7 days a week at that time. But
and Harley, I mean, while Harley had a home territory, he didn't have a home territory. You know what I mean?
Not really. I mean, he stayed in the St. He was on a monthly St. Louis card, and Central States, as he had. But
I feel like the Central States would have just been if I'm in town.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, when he was a champion, definitely.
Whereas Flair, it's like no, you're booked in the Carolinas for these shots. You know what I mean? So he had runs that he knew he was going to be in the Carolinas.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, the Carolina, Florida dates early on trumped Don Owens and
anybody
Southeastern. World Class, not so much, as they had a lot. Fritz had a lot of stroke at that 82, 83 time. So,
but Harley was, hey, now you got this date here, this date here, this date here, this date. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
there was nothing that trumped unless Sam Muchnick himself goes, hey Harley, I need you to cancel. It's all right. They know. But you know what I mean? Like, because no one's gonna say anything.
Muchnick, he only ran St. Louis, so.
Well, what I'm saying, like, if Muchnick, that'd be the only time Harley would have to trump something over something. Would be like,
but
it's Sam.
I'm saying it would never get booked like that.
Exactly.
Sam's booking it. He's the president. So yeah. And they know that's the St. Louis was the
showcase, baby.
Yeah. So even when Eddie Graham got the presidency, they still knew that the St. Louis was the NWA champion didn't miss St. Louis.
Nope.
It was just one of those things. But
all right.
But talking about these Mid America tag belts, I didn't even know they were Mid America tag belts, because I was so young in the 70s. The first time I ever saw them was in 87 when 86, 87 when Jarrett brought them back as international. And I'll tell you, the international belts that they had right before those, you can't find any pictures of them. They were cool, dude. Sato and Goto had them when they first put them on them, when they first came to the territory. Dude, they were huge. They had this big, like, eagle on steroids on them. The whole plate was like a big eagle. And it was like, they were cool, and they were old. You could tell they were old. And I don't think they were Jarrett's. I think they might have been probably Akio Sato's, because he'd been around for, at that time, over 15 years, But that's how I remember them. I first saw them was as the international tag belts in Memphis. So.
All right. Well, we're going to go from that to my number 4. So my number 4 is technically a version of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, but it's more affectionately just known as the Luthez belt. This is the belt that started it all. This belt was held by Orville Brown. I actually have the full list of everybody who's held this belt. Orville Brown, Luthez, Leo Namalini, Whipper Billy Watson, Edward Carpentier, who would take the fact that he held the championship at one point, and then after having dropped it back to Luthez, would still go around as champion and created the World Championship out in California.
Yep.
Trying to think. I had a lot of them listed. Let's see. I know for sure the one in California. I believe a World Championship in Montreal, and there was a World Championship somewhere else that was created over Carpentier, still recognizing himself as a world champion.
Yeah.
But as far as in actual timeline, he lost it back to Fez, who dropped it to a gentleman named Dick Hutton. Not I don't know a lot about him. I didn't do a lot of digging.
So I've seen some. What time period did they say that Trapante had it?
I didn't have everything listed by year, so I'm guessing here mid 50s, early to mid 50s.
Okay.
And the last holder of the Fez belt, as far as while it was an NWA title, was Pat O'Connor.
Okay.
After that, we would go on to the Crown Jewel belt. But
Crown Jewel.
In 1992, and this technically still falls within our time frame, old Lou Thesz lent the belt to be used as the title in UWFI. But there was only 2 champions ever to hold that belt: Nobuhiko Takada and Super Vader. And then
UWFI.
Huh?
You say Super Vader?
Yeah, that's what he was in UWFI.
Okay.
And then someone did something to piss off Lou Thesz, so he left with his belt.
Imagine that.
But so this was the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from 1948 until 1959, when it was replaced by the Crown Jewel title, or the Crown Jewel design of the belt. So the pictures I have here, and these are the pictures I'm going to use at YouTube. So the 2 pictures on blue are the actual belt. It's the actual belt from the I forgot what the actual name of the museum is, but the Pro Wrestling Museum in Waterloo, Iowa, the Hall of Fame. Okay. So this is actually on display there. It's his belt from his widow.
He's a widow.
Yeah, he died before his wife did.
She's still alive, ain't she? Or she dead?
I don't know as far as that goes, but either way, she'd still be his widow.
Oh yeah.
So the original belt, I've always thought it was cool how it didn't have leather until the back. Now what they have on display doesn't have the leather on. Now what I've got up in the top corner is top rope belts for a time. I don't even know if they're still a thing anymore. But top rope belts for a time was making what they had called the Lou Thesz Legacy Tribute Belt. And I don't know, man, just looking at them side by side, they added a few like those just 2 rubies on that one. They don't seem to be on the old one, but they could have been on it. And that thing was made in the 40s, so it could have easily fallen off. But it looks like they did a pretty darn good job in the replication. But I don't know, man, it's just always been neat that it didn't have leather until the back. It's so simple, but it holds a lot of prestige, and you just tell by looking at it, right? It was made by a jeweler, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't made by a belt maker. There was no such thing. This was made by a jeweler. It's a work of art. And it wasn't big and gaudy and bulky, but you still looked at it and goes,
that was tiny. Belts were tiny back then.
And you're just like, but that guy's a champ. And that thing cost a lot of money.
Oh yeah, definitely back then. There's no telling how much that thing was appraised for back then.
Yeah, and obviously what we're looking at says Lou Thesz on it, and even the belt in the Hall of Fame says Lou Thesz on it. But you can kind of even tell by looking at it that was added afterward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've just, it's the belt, it's the granddaddy of them all, man. It's the belt that started it all.
Yeah.
So just for that alone, and again, I know I keep saying it, and most of the replicas you get will have the leather on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going to get this one replicated, you got to do it right.
Yeah, don't get it leather, because if you're going to get a replica of it, you're not going to wear it, so you don't need the leather on it.
Exactly.
You want it authentic,
Exactly. No, and I don't know, man. Besides the history of it, I don't have a lot to say.
But the thing is, that time period, that has a lot of detail. That costs a lot of money, because that has a lot of detail for that time period.
Yeah, well, and all this was hand etched.
Yeah.
Like you can look
at the ring on it. I mean, that was, that took time, and that was really detailed for that time period.
Yeah, and where it says World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, you can tell because it's not perfect. That was etched by someone's hand.
Yeah.
The amount of work that went into placing each and every one of these stones and all that. Yeah, man, this is a work of art.
Well, cool.
That's my number 4.
I think that's the first time I've seen it without the leather on it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it had leather on it, but it was after the final snaps, and it was just a hook and loop, like a belt buckle.
Yeah.
So it's just so he could fasten it. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, man, I don't got a lot to say about it, which is weird because it's my number 4 favorite belt.
No.
But just I feel like it speaks for itself on what it is.
Yeah, for like I said, that and for it to be that old and be in that good a shape, it's a miracle,
Yeah, no, that's true too. Like they definitely kept that belt in really good shape.
Well,
But Thez
well,
also seems like somebody who would take care of his stuff because
yeah,
you can't see it because I cropped the picture, but like his boots are behind it and they look like
but
they could still be wrestled in.
my thing is, when other people change hands with other people too. I mean, you know what I'm saying? A lot of
That's
people
true.
touch, so, and yeah, I mean, how many times have I've seen, belts get knocked over off tables and stuff, I'm just saying, what I'm saying? By accident and just, so yeah, to be that's very, very great condition.
That could have been where the rubies went.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
What is your number four, sir?
All right. My number 4 is the NWA 6-man tag team belts from the 1970s from the Nick Goulas promotion, his side of the territory.
So this would be the one's picture with Nick Goulas in it.
Yes. Actually, I think I sent you 3 pictures of them.
Is one and it's just on it? They're just being used as tag belts.
Yeah, it's got Hickerson and Condrey, and the other one is Cowboy Frankie Lane sitting on a stool. Yeah.
The Bicentennial Kings.
I was going to look up and see how long they had the 6 that was doing the 6-man down for Goulas, because I know most once I've seen, I think it went off to I think they started using it for just a regular tag after a while.
Did this dude wrestle in these boots?
I don't know.
They had shoot spurs on them.
He probably took the spurs off.
My God.
I'm sure he just had them on. I don't know. That's Scott Till. He'll tell you. That's who took the picture, probably. But
let's see.
That was the picture with Goulas. It's George Goulas, Jackie Fargo, and Dennis Hall, and that's Nick Goulas. And the guy on the far side besides George, that's Mike Duncan.
Okay, who's he? That's exactly what I was about to ask.
Cousin. He's Jerry Jarrett's cousin.
Okay.
And he did a lot of the he helped with announcing in Birmingham. I mean, I might have Birmingham, I don't know, but I know he did some help with announcing in Chattanooga and helped with announcing in Nashville. So, but yeah, that was Jarrett's cousin. And that picture was the first night they won. That was first night of the belts. I think it was a tournament. So, but I love those belts. And I wish I could. I asked Scott Till if he had a better picture of it. He said he was going to see, and because you can't tell, but if you look, especially back on the picture with the colored picture of it, it's got the little side plate, the gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they have names on them. Because usually
that's what I thought. It would be like the championship history.
But that was the first night of it. That's why I was wondering what is on all those little plates. Because that was the extra first night they crowned the NWA 6-man tag team champions for Goulas.
Well, I mean, they're not the first belts to have that. And I mean, you're going to lose at some point, right?
What do you mean?
No, there's going to be next champions. Apparently, they're only prepared to have 6. But
oh, you're talking about it not having. There's no names on them.
Yeah, but then again, I see Goulas starting with that idea and then going, it costs how much to get names put in here? Nah.
I don't know, but I just wondered about that. I was like, I wish I had a close up to see. And I think I like every kind. No matter what the belt is, if it's got that plate like that, I love that plate.
Like a shield.
Yeah, there's something about it. Because like the actual Southern belt, I know this is not on my list, but the Southern belt from like 77 up to like 81 was that shield. They used that shield on the Southern belt.
That exact one, or
no, they used the shield. I'm just saying a shield.
Okay, well, I just didn't know because like they could have used the same trophy shop guy, and they're like, hey, we like that triangle design, and he just puts it with something a little different.
It was definitely trophy shop, the one they had in Memphis. Jarrett did. Jarrett just spent a lot of money on belts.
I wish I could find a trophy shop to make some belts.
I know, it'd be nice.
I keep looking at this picture of the Bicentennial Kings, and it's so funny.
But if you look on one of those pictures, I think it's the color one because they're holding them. After those side little plate gimmicks.
Oh yeah, it's the small strap,
and it's just a belt, like a regular belt strap.
Yeah,
and it's a hook and loop, it's a hook and loop closure. It's not snaps.
Yeah.
So it was like they got that. Then they just used a regular belt from like from almost from the very not even the side, just right there on. It's just a regular belt like you get at the store. But I just thought they were really, when I first remember saw them, I really liked those. I was like, those are real interesting. And I've always wondered after I found out, I was wondering what names were on them. Then when I found out, years later that was the first night at those belts because they won. There was the tournament in Chattanooga, and I was like, oh, whose names could have been on those belts? So it just makes you wonder what, but if they left them blank, that would have been ugly.
So, I mean, they had regular tag team championships by this time, right?
Yeah, because they had the Mid America belts that they and actually I want to say Gillis switched it up. Sometimes he'd have the Mid America tag champions, and then sometimes he'd have them at the Southern. He'd have Southern tag champion. I think it just depends. I don't know, because usually Nashville and what I've read on Nashville and Chattanooga kind of stayed around, and not Burn. I don't know about Huntsville, but they just stayed. But then Birmingham, it seemed like theirs was a little different. So I don't know. It was different. How I guess because it was all one territory, but it was split in half. I guess to switch it up. I guess they would have and switch out the name of the belts.
Yeah.
They'd come in because I know I've seen advertisements from Goodless Cards in Nashville, and say Lawler would come in. He was the NWA, so the junior Southern champ, whatever it was, junior heavyweight Southern champ. Is that junior heavyweight champion? And then they changed it to just Southern, But so I'm assuming that they switched up. Would do Mid America belts for a while, and then they'd have different belts. They would be the Southern belts, So I think they switched it up a lot. So yeah, I like those. They're really unique.
I like them a lot too. Like the more I'm looking at them, the more I'm just like, I wonder what those would look like recreated.
They're just different. That's why I think I like them so much.
I need to stop looking at this picture of Phil Hickerson. He just looks so silly for some reason.
When they were the Bicentennial Kings, whatever they were called, yeah, they were even before that and after that, especially after that when they were wearing a lot of hearts and stuff on their stuff. And Phil was
I think it's him not in leggings.
Yeah.
Because every time I've ever seen him, he's been wearing leggings.
All those 70s, man, he wore.
Or maybe the bleach blonde and that headband.
Yeah, the bleach blonde.
That looks like it was a lady's scarf that he just tied around his head.
It probably was. Probably his wife's scarf he just put on his head.
Hey, baby, I need something to wear out to the ring. I'll use this. All right, here we go.
Yeah, if you send me some pictures, they were wearing hearts.
I've seen a match with them wearing the hearts. I think it was Southeastern.
Yeah, they were colorful. And Phil, that blonde hair, it throws you off, especially if you're used to 80s Phil Hickerson,
Well, if you're used to 80s Dennis Condrey, like he's got his hair all combed or brushed out and stuff like this. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, the Midnight Express would do some flamboyant stuff. But then Condrey start wrestling and just beat the crap out of people.
But, for that time period, that was kind of pushing the envelope a little bit,
But at the end of the day, I don't know. We keep this podcast clean. I was going to say we know the story about Condrey checking Hickerson's tonsils.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a rib right there, ain't it?
Woo, boy.
Split one of the best tag teams of the 70s, didn't it?
Oh boy, I don't know how Dennis Condrey survived.
I don't know either. We don't know. But yeah, I've always liked them. A lot of people think they're just hideous, but I like them. All right, take it away.
My number 3 is going to be a no-brainer to you for as long as you've known me and as many conversations as we've had. My number 3
WMF belt
is the AWA Southern Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
I know we're not giving our honorable mentions, but honorable mentions would obviously be the AWA, the NWA version, I guess, which is the red one. From what I looked up, when I would look up NWA Southern Heavyweight title, the red one. But I've also heard that one was Florida, so I'm a bit confused on that.
Man, that in the early '80s, a lot of territories had that set like that.
Well, that's what I didn't want to give it away when we were talking about the Mid-Atlantic television, but that's when I said I see it. That's what I saw was like the basic design. Like the side plates looked exactly the same, except for what's in the middle circle. The main plate general shape is the same.
Yeah, I was all the same, made from the same person. I'm assuming it was Reggie Park belts. And
now I do have one question that you might know that I don't.
What's that?
And I've always wondered this. And can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, this little gimmick.
I don't know what that is, but it's on there.
Every time I see it, it looks like 3 H's.
I can never tell. I never could tell what it was. It looks like a 3H gimmick, but I'm thinking it's the.
They were just waiting for Paul Levesque to come through the territory.
That, or maybe it's the Parthenon in Nashville, maybe.
You know, I never thought about that. But when was the Parthenon built? I feel like the Parthenon was a '90s thing.
What? Lord, no.
Okay, I don't know.
Don't bite my head off, Hammer.
Yeah, Jesus.
Hi.
I was 9 in '95. Give me a break.
I think the Parthenon was built maybe 20s, 30s.
Oh, well, if that's the case, that makes perfect sense. And my head just kind of popped.
It is.
My head just kind of exploded thinking about that. Now, I do think it's funny that on the Florida version is the state of Florida, and on the Memphis version, they're like, "Nah, get Florida out of here."
Well, see, a lot of people. I've noticed. I've been trying to find, just looking at stuff, and the same thing. I put in the NWA Southern Champion, and you see the red one. Now, I was still young when this belt come out. I think in '82 is when they started using that one. I do believe. I was, 10. They started 11. So my mind, I don't remember a lot of stuff. I remember some. I don't remember it ever being red. The only one I remember being red was the tag belt. Same thing, but it was red. Where this is black and gold. It was red, and the strap had a red stripe down the middle of it on both sides, and it only had 2 side plates. Now the heavyweight had 3, but the tag only had 2. But every picture I've seen, it's close up I can find. The tag ones don't say tag on them.
Really?
So I don't. Yeah, but they might have. But all the ones I've seen, you can't tell it says tag on them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I've never seen one just right up close, to see if it was, the originals have it. I don't know. There's not enough. I haven't found enough good enough picture for it.
Who has the originals?
I don't know. Who knows?
Milliken has a set, but I don't know if they're the originals or not.
I don't think they are because
me and Buzz have held that set, and if they're the originals, you might see me explode live on camera.
There's no way there's originals. Originals would be so wore out.
Yeah, sell it to a belt maker.
Do what?
Yeah, if they were wore out and they got sold to a belt maker, you don't think he could refurbish them?
Well, they're not original if they're refurbished.
Yes, they are.
No, you gotta have the original leather, dude.
Oh, then none of these belts are originals.
Unless the promotion re-leathered it. But
Dave Milliken worked for the promotion.
I think it's
man. Listen, I'm wanting those belts to possibly be that I held to possibly be the same ones.
They stopped using those in '89, and when they started using those ones that look like the red, white, and blue ones.
Mm-hmm.
They started using those in '89. They retired those, and tell you something, those were wore out by then. The leather was flimsy by then.
Didn't they bring those tag belts back numerous times though?
Which ones?
The Southern, the ones that are like this heavyweight.
No, after '89, they never came back.
Really? I know the heavyweight came back all the time. This was the USWA heavyweight championship at one point.
This one was?
Mm-hmm. They called it that.
I don't remember them bringing it back like that. That one.
Yeah, the Southern heavyweight title at one point, and then of course they run Memphis Wrestling. What has to come back and
because I don't remember because after the '89 they said late into '89 they said the USWA. I try to remember what belts they had because they switched from those. It wasn't too much. I think they got those belts from Fuller. His USA Championship wrestling belts. Those red ones they used forever.
No, I'm talking about the heavyweight title.
I know, but I don't think I'm just thinking about the tag. I'm thinking about what was.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think they made a comeback because I don't remember ever seeing them live.
Okay, because I know the red, white, and blue. I'm trying to think what was after the red, white, and blue. The remakes did. I can't remember, but I don't. But there was see, and also there's a time period in Nashville. They switched. Oh, this is what sucked. A lot of people don't realize we didn't get Memphis TV for 4 months at least. We did not. Everything we got USWA Dallas, and they would throw in the card inserts for Nashville.
Oh gosh, you guys were getting matches in that Renegade ring?
Yes. Yeah. We didn't see, and it was horrible and that's when they went down to one channel. So they were on 17 or 30 and channel 2 in Nashville. And they just went down to one, and we were getting that one show. And it was horrible. I want to say it was, I'm not going to be off a little bit my time periods, but I almost was at least 4 months.
How confused were you guys watching it and seeing the Dallas feed where all the Tennessee guys who are normally baby faces were heels?
Well, I was smart by then, so I understood it.
So, could you imagine? It's like last time you saw Jerry Lawler on TV, he's kissing babies, and then next time you see him, he's telling everyone
to screw off. At that time, he wasn't, because he wasn't doing Dallas TV, so we didn't get anything.
No, he didn't go down right at the beginning.
Well, the beginning was end of '89, early '90.
When did USWA go down to Dallas?
The CWA went down there. Was it '88? When was the Superclass 3? December of '88.
You're right. There was '88. Why don't I always think USWA was '90s, but
USWA didn't. It changed first in Dallas first, and then they changed. Then they changed the Memphis from CWA to USWA after the Dallas change of the name.
Okay, so it didn't both change at the same time.
No, as far as I can remember, there was a little time lapse, I do believe.
Okay. Well, because
from what I can remember.
Yeah, because I remember the whole unveiling, you know what I mean, with Percy and oh God, who was it?
Eric Embry.
Yeah, Eric Embry. Hell yeah. Love me some Eric Embry. But yeah, they did the whole unveiling and of the new logo and whatever.
Yeah, they tore down the World Class banner.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. This had to have come back because I feel like this is the belt I was raised on. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, this wasn't the main belt. Like, this was definitely a secondary title by the time I was watching.
Okay, so in the early to mid '90s, they had the unified belt, which was after Snowman didn't bring it back. They got the replica of the AWA belt made up.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
and that's what was the unified. That was the USWA heavyweight champion or world champion or whatever it was, world champion.
Yeah, I don't think they even ever said USWA. I think they said unified world champion.
Was it still unified?
Yeah, I feel like they called it unified like the entire time almost.
Did they? I can't remember.
That's my memory. They may not have, but I do remember like unified click because I didn't know about
it world. I do know they used world.
Yeah.
World
yeah. Like, Lawler was getting that world in.
So they had that belt. So what was? Man, I remember the stuff like back of my hand at one time. I'll tell you, I can't remember hardly anything anymore. I'm trying to remember. When we went back to the Memphis feed, it was in '90. I said it wasn't very long, a few months, maybe 4 the most, maybe.
But still long enough to be totally confused as to what's going on anymore.
Well, no, because the only person that was heel at the time down there was Lawler. Jarrett was babyface.
Well, I'm just talking about storylines and everything. Like, you get back to the regular feed and you're like, I have no idea what's going on.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Because they were not sent. You were getting a totally different crew than what you were getting on TV. You were getting the Memphis crew, but getting the other with a little few mix in here and there.
I'm talking about once you've gone back to the Memphis feed, because you said there was like 3 to 4 months where there was Texas feed.
Yeah, but the Nashville house shows were mainly Memphis crew though.
Oh, so so you're keeping up with the storylines for the house shows.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
They would throw a few of the Dallas guys in there, but not a lot. They set Steve Williams up here, Steve Austin, and but I don't think there was many. I'm trying to remember. There wasn't a lot of, from what I can remember, a lot of the Dallas guys owned the house shows in Nashville, from what I can remember.
As a quick sidebar, recommendations since we're talking about this, if you haven't already, My World with Jeff Jarrett, the last 2 podcasts that dropped.
I listened to Super Clash 3. I hadn't listened to Daddy Buys Dallas yet.
Daddy Buys Dallas is pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that yet. I'm going to listen to it this week.
Super Clash is good too, but Daddy Buys Dallas is good.
Yeah. And it's something Jeff Jarrett was wrong about that. He said that it was just Memphis.
Before you say this, I'm going to see him Tuesday.
Okay.
So I will call him.
He said that
I will say, your best friend, Quentin Charisma. I've seen the picture. Y'all are best buddies.
He's like, who?
Then it'd be like Sweet Mullet. He's like, oh, yeah.
Sweet Mullet. That is like 95% of the people that went to the fairgrounds of that time period. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but yours was pretty sweet.
Anyway.
Send me that picture so I can put that up right now.
Do what?
Send me that picture so I can put that up.
Oh, man. If I know how to do it on my thing, I would do it. I got it somewhere on the flash drive. You have to add it. I'll send it to you. You have to add it in here.
Heck yeah.
But he said that it was just Memphis only. They did that big taping with all the people. They did it in Nashville too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had it in this auditorium.
Okay.
It just wasn't Memphis. They did that big taping with all those people. They did it at Nashville too. I ain't for sure about Louisville, but if they did it in Nashville, I'm sure they did it in Louisville too. But yeah, Nashville was one of them. It just wasn't Memphis. They did the big card on before the Super Clash gimmick. Because I think Connor, what's his name? Conrad. And I think he even said Nashville. He said, no, it was just Memphis, didn't he?
I would have to go back and listen. I do it while I'm doing other stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a very passive listener, but I'll have to go back and listen and really listen for that.
But yeah, he said it. Yeah, because they had it in Nashville too. Because I remember, I wanted to go and I didn't get to go. I wanted to go so bad, but it's municipal, and I didn't get to go. But yeah, so that I listened to that Super Clash 3. That was crazy, man. And something he did talk about. He said, what was it? Him and Eric Embry, they didn't know if it was going to be a baby versus baby or what it was. But here's the thing. Cactus Jack he was already babyface and was leaving the territory. Him and Gary Young going to Dallas. And he was on that, and he was in the 6-man with RPMs against the Guerrero brothers. But he was already a babyface in Memphis. Him and Gary Young already turned.
Wonder how long it was until he breaks his wrist doing that stupid scaffold match.
Who's that?
Cactus. He did a scaffold match in Dallas and broke his wrist.
I don't see nobody. Have you ever seen their scaffold matches?
Mm-mm.
Holy smokes. I don't see anybody get really hurt. Man, they were up high. For the one I saw was with was the Simpsons against the RPMs.
Oh, Jesus, the Simpsons.
I want to say it was the Simpsons. And I think it was the Simpsons, Simpsons and somebody against, I think it was RPMs and Eric Embry. For some reason, that's sticking in my head. I just remember seeing the picture in the magazine, and I was like, oh my God, it looked way higher than the NWA's were. But I could be wrong. It could have been but it just looked, and then I saw the video clip of it. It just looked higher. I don't know if it was the camera angle, but man, it looked like it was way up there. But anyway, how did we get on this?
I'm not sure.
Oh, we're talking about the Southern Belt and going into using it in USW. I tell you the best way to find out, look at their TV on YouTube. Pull up their TVs from different years.
Yeah.
Like 90 on, when they actually turned to USWA. Because actually I had to find on YouTube for one of my belts, something about it. So, because I couldn't find it nowhere on the internet. All right. Where are we at now?
We are at your number 3.
All right. My number 3 is the mid-'80s version of the International. I guess it would be AWA by then, wasn't it?
I don't know if the Internationals ever had affiliations.
Because it was that time period where they were kind of in the middle of using both, that 85 time period. Because that was the first time I remember seeing it. The International Heavyweight title.
And baby, I know which picture it was you sent me of that one.
There you go.
There it is. The Universal Heartthrob, Austin Idol.
Yeah. And that was another one that was hard to find. And you would think
that you found a really good picture of it, though.
Yeah. But you can't see the side plate. And so I always thought I didn't. It's hard to remember from the TV. And I looked through. I had some old programs I got on a flash drive from the Nashville shows, and I thought I had one of Billy Travis holding it stretched out over his head, but I didn't have it on there. and I couldn't find anyone with the side plates because I didn't know if it had two side plates or just one side plate. And then when I found that, I noticed it just got one side plate. But I love that belt. It's big, gaudy, but with that time period, I don't know, it's cheaply made. But it's just I don't know, something about a big silver belt to me, especially when I was young. I really loved big silver belts.
And it's a silver belt, like it's just flat silver. Like there's no etching or anything. It's just flat silver, and then everything's added on top of it.
Yeah, everything is trophy shopped on there. There's no etching. Nothing's etched in it.
And it's got all the gimmicks.
And what I like about it too, I didn't realize till later on, but in the time period when I was younger and I liked it, first time I saw it, but if like especially on this picture, you can really see it. It's international champion. Then look at the bottom of US.
Yeah, just like that light heavyweight title, world championship, US.
Yeah,
we just want to let you know who's the best. US, us.
and I mean, it has no. From what I could, I've seen pictures of the side plates. I have seen it's from a distance. There's no countries on them. So the only thing it has anything resembles a country is U.S. at the bottom.
But let's see, it's got the crown. I can't tell if that's a globe or not that the crown's sitting on.
I don't think it's a globe, dude.
I don't know what it is.
I think I sent you another one. I think I sent you another one of that.
It's got the olive branches. It's got two little shields on each side.
Yeah.
I can't tell what's in the center. Let me see where the other one is. If you sent one,
I sent you another one, didn't I?
Is it old Robert here?
Yeah, see if you can see if that one.
I don't know if this Robert one's gonna get her done.
No, it's
that was taken with an Etch a Sketch.
That was definitely one of those little 110 cranks cameras.
Yeah, for sure.
That one with Idle Hold, that's the best one I could find.
That's a gorgeous picture. I bet Austin still has that on his gimmick table.
How would?
That's a rad picture, man. I might print this out and be like, hey, I know there's already an autograph on there, but can you put a real one?
Yeah. No, yeah. And my whole thing is you got guys nowadays, you would never see top guys with cheap belts. Back then, the top guys didn't care, I mean, look, also holding that. Nowadays, you're like, you would see your top guy holding a belt like that.
Well, nowadays, they worry about that. I don't care. He just wants to make sure his check clears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I've always liked everything. Like I said, I think the first time I saw it was around 85-ish. And then, it was always a secondary belt. And they kind of would push it a little bit. And then they would push the Mid-America a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Those are the two secondary belts that at different time periods they had pushed a little more, The
thing about the international, and I mean you noticed it when we were reviewing Memphis, was that they used it very much as a tool to bring somebody in, because they didn't have to, people kept track of the Mid-America title wins and losses in Southern, but the international, they could just explain away that it happened somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with the international tag. They did the same thing, They always brought it to bring somebody in, because that's why like I said earlier when I was talking about the Mid-America belts and also being at the international, I'm pretty sure Sato and Goto, when they came to Memphis, I think that's how they brought them in. And I said they had a really nice old school looking set that I never seen in Memphis or at Goodless. So,
we saw when they brought in that one tag team like for a minute. Like I think they're only on 1 week, and they brought them in as the international.
Yeah, who was that? Oh man,
they put them. They had them with Paulie. And they went out there and did a stinker of a job match.
Yeah, who was that?
And then all of a sudden, because they had a package coming in, or at least Paulie cutting a promo about him coming in. They came in and had a match, and it sucked. Yeah. And it was all them.
Yeah.
And then they weren't on TV no more. But they came in as the international tag champions.
And then was it? And they put it on somebody at a babyface. Who was it? Was it Steve Keirn and Mark Starr?
Maybe, yeah. And just brought them back in. They're like, hey. Look who won.
Yeah, they're the champ. Yeah. Gosh, who was that tag team? That's killing me now. Yeah, but that's basically.
They had some generic name like the Bounty Hunters or something like that.
What was their names?
Because they're just dudes in like fatigues and singlet tops.
Yeah, it was. Oh crap! I want to look it up tonight. But the international and heavy and the tag were used like that, but when they would come in though, it would get pushed pretty good because there was always somebody new coming in they wanted to get over. So usually now the Southern tag never took the back seat to when those they'd use the international belt to come in, but like the Mid America, it would kind of, when they first bring somebody in and push that international, the Mid America would drop down a little bit just to give that new person more a little rub with it, but then it would drop back down.
Yeah, I noticed depending on who was holding which belt would kind of be where it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there was a time when Dutch Mantel had held the Mid America that thing kind of rivaled the Southern because Dutch was so over.
Early 80s, early 80s definitely. The Mid America belt was, it was. I'm talking about that the mid 80s, that mid 80s, the like 85 to 87 time period, and then they finally merged.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like those secondary belts, it really depended who held them more than what the belt signified where it normally would be, right? Because right now, in this picture, Austin Idol holding the international championship, it's above the Mid America.
Yeah, definitely,
100%.
But like when we was watching it in '87, when Jarrett and the Moondog were feuding over the Mid America belt, it was higher than the international. And then didn't who was it? Rocky Johnson win the international, and then it kind of stepped up a little bit there for a few weeks.
Oh yeah, and then Dundee won it from Rocky Johnson and never defended it.
He didn't beat Rocky Johnson. No, Barnes.
That's right. Barnes won it from Johnson, then Dundee won it from Barnes, but then just never defended it. He would come out with it.
Yeah, just kind of dipped off.
He'd come out with it all the time and then just do his thing.
Yeah, it's the whole but then like I said, the Moondog and Jarrett feud got hot there, so they put more emphasis. Yeah, it was up and down. It was mostly Mid America was the second belt.
Yeah.
Definitely in the early 80s, it was the second belt. There was no definitely doubt about it.
Well, and I think that's because it was the more consistent belt too.
Because like you said, the whole thing with international was to bring somebody in, get them the rub. They're coming in as the international champion. So
yeah.
All right. So what's your number 2?
All right. I think also, knowing me, number 2 is not going to be a big surprise. My number 2 is the NWA Television Championship. On black or red, I don't care either way. I have a preference toward the red, I guess.
Yeah, I like the red.
I never got to hold it in red, which is sad. Also looks good in white.
Never seen it in white.
Looks good in white. I believe Pope had it on white.
Okay.
Yeah, Pope had it on a white strap, if I remember right. But currently held by star of the Gutfeld show, Tyrus.
Yep.
But we're not going off current. We're going off, back in the day. But my favorite wrestler ever held this belt and will forever, to me, be signified with this belt. Arn Anderson, 100%.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of somebody goofy who held it and say that to do a left turn, but I couldn't think of anyone goofy who held that belt.
Yeah,
Like the Mid-Atlantic, I think Paul Jones held that, so I could have said that, but not this one.
You ever seen Paul Jones work?
I know he was jacked.
Paul Jones could work back in the day.
I've heard he was great.
Yeah, it was good.
I know some of the little bit I've seen him, though, he was jacked.
He had that big old barrel chest, boy.
Yeah.
Huge upper body, chest and shoulders. But when you think of that, the red television, you think of Arn Anderson. I mean, it's just
that. Yeah, there's nobody else. I mean, there's other people, but he's the top. He's the top.
When did they change that belt?
See, that's what I had trouble finding. From the stuff I read, they said they kept this belt until 91, but that doesn't seem right.
I don't remember it. If it did, they hardly ever had it on TV.
Is this the one? Did Steve Austin win this belt from Bobby Eaton?
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Because if that's the case, because I know he said he says, quote unquote, the television belt in his safe at the house. But I don't know if it's this belt or not. If it is, then 91 would have seemed about right. Because then I think they went to the WCW television title after this. Okay. And there was that lap over where they're still using NWA titles. So I'm really not sure, and I couldn't find over. I'd need to, watch some old WCW and see when there was a change.
Kayfabe Memories Belt Gallery, their dates are pretty accurate on their stuff. I'm sure it'll say on which gimmick on it is.
Huh. Then let's do that real quick. Go over to our friends over at Kayfabe Memories in the Belt Gallery. Let me find NWWWWA on here.
Dude, hold on a second. I know this is off topic. Nobody can see
it says 92.
Wow. Dang.
What's up?
Okay, look at those World Tag circa 1978.
Oh, on the sky blue.
Yeah.
Not the wrestler.
I love those belts, man.
Yeah, no, those are sweet. But yeah, so okay, 92. So that probably is the belt that's in Steve Austin's safe right now.
Wow.
That man just has everything.
I don't remember it. I for some reason, I don't remember it being using it that long. But not so my brain's fuzzy on some stuff. But yeah, like I said, that's the red one. And the one before that, I love the one before that. The background of the old Georgia Championship Wrestling set.
That one is beautiful and has a whole bunch of color. It may, to me, it has just a tad too much color, and I think this really lets the silver shine through. And I'm a fan of the secondary belt being silver.
Oh, definitely.
Like I don't think it has to be, but I am a fan of it, especially when it's still very well done in its own. I love the detail work of this belt. You know, the old school cameras on the sides and whatnot. And on this version, obviously, you know, the CBS, ABC, NBC logos and the satellite dish and the old Jim Crockett NWA logo. Like, big fan of all the detail work that goes into it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a classic. I mean, very much more you say about that one, you know.
Yeah, I really didn't. I didn't take very many chances on that one, but it's just one of my favorites, man, for what it signifies.
You know, it's
I notice you're more in the trophy shop era, and I'm a lot in the cast era.
Yeah, definitely.
It was made by a jeweler.
What?
Then I had that one from the 40s that was made by a jeweler.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of went. It was like, whoa, what are we doing there? All right.
Big time left turn on that.
All right, my number 2 is gonna be the Mid America heavyweight belt from the early '80s that went all the way up to '87 from Memphis Jarrett's territory.
All right, is the I'm trying to see if the Eaton one's the only one. All right, yep, we'll pull that back up. Boom, old beautiful Bobbert there. That's the best picture you could get.
Man, there's no belts. I tell you,
there's a Dutch Mantel promo picture.
But they're small. Everyone I downloaded are really small. I don't know how to make them bigger without losing, without them getting grainy to enlarge them.
I'll work on that for you. But yeah, the NWA.
I found a million replicas, and I'll tell you right now, none of the replicas are accurate. None of them are.
So while we're talking about the replicas, what's the thing that you find wrong with the replicas? Hey. It's tiny. As I was about to say, there's your picture of the international title. That's a good picture, though.
Yeah.
Too bad.
It's one of Awesome Idol holding it.
But so what's your issue with the replicas?
Okay. The little state gimmick that goes around the belt. It's all one color. It was all it's not gold.
Okay, so for people who haven't seen the replicas, so they have a silver back piece with gold like plates with the states that apparently make up the Mid-America region.
Yeah.
So was it all silver or was it all gold?
Yeah, it was all silver, but it reflected so much. If the lighting and there wasn't right, or somebody was standing in front with if there was any kind of color, it would reflect. Because there's some pictures you can look at. It looks almost gold, the whole belt. But it was just a reflection of it, like the one of Dutch, the orange shirt on there. If you look at it,
was this an NWA belt, an AWA belt?
It was NWA.
So after they switched to AWA, they just called it Mid America after that.
Yeah, and also I've never seen it. I've looked everywhere for. You cannot find pictures of the original side plates. I actually looked on YouTube. I should have looked back on the '87 stuff was doing, because I know there was probably I know Jeff Jarrett always wore it out. Moondog, he didn't wear it. Bruno carried it out. So I should have pulled up one of those. I could have seen. But I actually saw when Jacques Rougeau had it in Memphis. It was on the TV. It was on the TV things. He had it on around his waist, and when he turned, it had 2 side plates on both sides. I don't know what was on them, but it had 2 side plates. All these replicas have 1 side plate on each side. So it's not accurate at all. But that's that's when that's my favorite belt of all time until my number one knocked it off. But
Really?
yeah, I
All
love
right.
that belt. I mean, you look at that, people make fun of that belt, say it's trophy shop. It is, but that 82, 83 is when I started really remember. I can remember when that's when I was really getting into Memphis a lot. That I can. And I used to watch before that, but I can't remember hardly anything from like 80. I barely remember any Goalish at all. And then then they bought out. Then they got switched over in 80, the end of 80. Then 81, I don't really remember. But 82 is when I started remembering stuff. I just remember that belt. There's something about it. I just loved it. I think it's because it's shiny, silver and shiny. That's why I like silver shiny belts for some reason. And that's one I remember from a kid, one of the first ones I ever liked from a kid. So,
I get that. I get it a lot. And
but
you
yeah,
do,
you cannot find
yeah.
any pictures anywhere of the side plates or what they were. About the only person that would have pictures of it probably would be Cornette because he was there in that taking pictures before he turned manager. That belt. That's when it first came in. It was really strong. Everybody
Now
was
I
holding it. So.
wonder if by a certain time that two of the side plates had been removed or fallen off, or you know what I mean?
They might have fallen off. Is that someone? I'm gonna look on that. I'm gonna look on that 87 stuff we were watching because that's. I mean, that was a lot of that was out. So
I see in this picture I just pulled from Kayfabe Belt Galleries where it's definitely silver. It does look like the silver plate behind it is a little less shiny or something, so that the silver side plates and top and bottom plates they seem to shine more, show more. I don't know how they did that, but
somehow they stick out a little more. So
yeah,
you see them a little. It's not. I don't think it's the same. It's a little difference in the color. So
yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
that's definitely that definitely fits in your love of trophy shops.
Hey,
But
what was the
we've
guy's
had
name?
a lot of discussion about that belt too, though.
Yeah. What was the guy we used to watch? What was the we used to watch the Memphis stuff on? You remember
Gary
the
and Shay, Trader Jack.
Trader Jack? I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think it's Trader Jack's what we used.
Trader Jack 6421, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up real fast if we have time.
Oh yeah.
Because I know, like I said, Jared always wore when we did that whole year of '87. He always wore it around his waist, and when the Moondog had, I know he Bruno carried it out. So I can find it. But all right. So that's my number two. So what's your number one?
All right. Drum roll.
Drum roll, please.
My number one is, I mean, of course, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. However, I'm not going with the 10 pounds of gold. Obviously, I've already named the Fez belt. I'm not going to go with that custom job that Dan Severn had, even though that is a really cool looking belt. I am going with the crown jewel used from 1959 through 1973, the second design of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, with holders that include Pat O'Connor, Buddy Rogers, Lou Thez, Gene Kiniski, Dory Funk Jr., and the man, Harley Race. I love this belt. I thought the first time I saw this belt, because I was so conditioned to either the 10 pounds of gold or the big gold, that this was just a custom belt that somebody came up with. You know what I mean? I didn't know the history yet, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know, just the NWA in the background with the wrestlers in front of it. Simple etching work. And honestly, the side plates have nothing on them. They're literally just kind of domed out, but mirrored.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. It's slightly bigger than the Fez belt, but it's not quite dome globe or 10 pounds of gold, whatever you want to call it. And it's definitely not big gold. So it's still in that small belt category. And I've kind of noticed through what I've been listing, I seem to like small belts. Maybe it's from carrying big ones in a bag and be like, no, this sucks. But no, I like small belts. I think they look classier. They don't look gaudy.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And usually the small ones seem to have more, and I say that after that while looking at one with the simplest side plates ever, but more intricate design work. And it's specifically like the crown looks so great. The floral pattern around the outside gives it almost a royal look.
That time period, that is really, really, really nice.
And then just the two guys wrestling with the NWA in bright red, but like they're in front of it. You know what I mean? So it gives it that 3D look. I don't know, just something about it. It's beautiful. It's a work of art, not in the same way of the Fez belt, because that Fez belt is literally an art piece.
Yeah.
And this is one of the few belts I'll say that I do like where the leather goes a good bit beyond the plate. I like them to usually be pretty close.
Yeah, the bottom of that really, yeah, I've just noticed that the bottom that really goes down far.
Yeah. So yeah, especially on the bottom,
But
it goes down far. Huh?
It don't look bad at all though.
Yeah, no, it just set well. I love this belt. And I kind of understand why it does that. The more I've gotten into talking to people who collect, like they put more leather to protect the little intricacies along the edge of the belt. You know what I mean? Like remember the World Junior Heavyweight Championship that had the crown?
Things they had those in some of the belts in Southeastern Continental were like that too. And it's like, how did they not? They had to break off a lot.
Well, so that's the thing. At first they did, and then you'll see later. At least I know with the World Junior Heavyweight Championship belt, they ended up making it to where the leather went higher than the crown, and it was for that very reason.
Yeah.
Now sometimes it looks kind of goofy that way, but
it's to protect it because I mean, like we were talking earlier about stuff belts getting beat to death. Getting beat up, not even just by accident. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
So it might not look good, but for the longevity of the belt, you'd have to have it.
Yeah. And speaking of this belt, I would be remiss, and I have not read the book, but I would be remiss not to mention there is a book specifically about this belt put out by Mid-Atlantic Gateway called Crown Jewel. So if you're interested in this belt at all, pick it up. But yeah, it's about this belt in the time frame. They also have the big gold and I believe the Missouri Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, Missouri Heavyweight Championship. That was the gateway to the World Championship for a long time.
Yeah, that was the tryout, man. That was like, hey, see how you do with this.
That and the Florida Heavyweight Championship. Those were the two. Yeah, those were the two ones that you would see what would basically your world champion would be. But yeah, the Missouri title definitely especially with Mushnick when he was president, that was really the main. That was the belt that led to it. So. But yeah, that's for that time period. We're talking about the time period of the Fez belt. But man, for that is that like I said, there's the side plates there's nothing to them, but that main plate, for that time period, that's beautiful.
So and I also the designs of the NWA United National Championship and the Japanese version of the NWA North American Tag Team Championships were based off that. And I looked, I couldn't find much for the NWA North American Tag Team Championship, but the NWA United National Championship, I find, and we've actually covered matches that did that. That was the belt that was defended a lot in All Japan. Okay. I believe it's actually part of the Triple Crown.
Okay.
But it is strikingly similar. Like it's not close, like it doesn't have the NWA or anything like that. Yeah. But like you can tell that the main cast was at least a relative of it. They're based on one another at the very least.
Now, and if you look at a lot of those Japanese belts from the 60s and 70s, they're really they all have similarities and stuff like that.
Well, so I feel like they're all trying to honor a tradition. So until
that's what it is.
Until fairly recently, they were all really old school looking.
Yeah.
I think until the 90s, some of them still had the belt buckle style.
Yeah, the buckle on the back. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
the Baba belts. Every Baba belt I can remember had buckles on. It seemed like.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. They liked a lot of heritage in their design work.
Yeah.
And I kind of dig that too. You know what I mean? Like I always think, I think it was a PWF belt, which was I believe that was the main heavyweight belt in Baba's and became part of the Triple Crown. Yeah. If I remember right, it had the chains on it as kind of an homage to the Lou Thesz belt, even though it had the leather, but it had the chains as well as kind of an homage.
Yeah, a lot of they actually, because I saw looking at the I was going through Facebook, I think it was yesterday, and this guy Fumi, I don't know how to say his last name, he puts a lot of stuff on there, and he showed tag belts, Baba's tag belts. It's in the museum, and it has those chains. It's like, yeah, it had the chains on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got leather, but it still had the chains. Yeah, I think that's what there's the Japan belts were. They're all made to honor that. Yeah, I think it all had a,
Yeah, they really don't do it anymore, but
well,
yeah, especially that new Japan heavyweight title design. But anyway, yeah, maybe that's what we do next week. Our least 5 favorite belts.
Two of mine you would probably be shocked at. People would be mad at me because I've never been a fan of them.
Let's do
I'm
it.
looking at Jeff Jarrett holding the Mid America belt. It's got the 2 plates, but you cannot tell what they are. One looks blank, and the other one looks like maybe 2 guys amateur wrestling on it. Maybe
We hope.
so. You hope that's what they're doing. But yeah, it definitely had 2 plates, but you can't tell on TV what it was. Anyway, all right. You ready for my number 1?
Yes, sir. You're number 1.
Okay. For the 5 people that listen to this, you're probably going to be like, huh? Because probably nobody's ever seen this belt. My number 1 pick is the All-State Tag Team Championship belt. The reason why it's my number 1 belt is that's the first belt I ever held in wrestling. Me and Mark Gordy won those belts in Shelbyville in May of '93, and we beat Ben and Glenn Mullins for them. We held them all the way until August of '93, and lost them in Shelbyville to Ben Mullins and Jamie Dundee in a cage match. So, and that is Trophy Shoppers August. Because I remember when I made those tag belts, the trophy shop had that main plate, and I was going to get it. I was like, just to, for, sentimental value, but the price was like, whoa, never mind. It was a lot higher than I was wanting to spend. So, yeah, like I said, you look at it, and it had snaps. It didn't have Velcro or buckle. It actually had snaps, and no, it did not fit my waist. It was small, and they did. I don't think they dyed the leather because it looks tan.
Yeah, that's not dyed.
And they did have whoever made these. Actually, I don't know who made them. I'm thinking maybe JD Wolf maybe. But I've seen his belts, but his later belts look a lot better than that. But whoever made them, they actually took on the ends. What is that? They looped it through. What is that? You're talking about on the top and bottom of the leather?
Oh, they did the stitching. Yeah. I mean, stitching's all I know it as, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, instead of just press, it's actually they wove whatever through. It's like almost a kind of a rubbery plastic. It's not. It's got, from what I can remember, kind of like the boxing belts. Yeah, it may be leather string actually.
That's probably what it's something. I remember because it was. I think it is leather string. It was leather string, but yeah, it was. I mean, it's definitely a homemade belt. But like I said, it's the first one I ever held, so it's always gonna be number 1. It's always gonna be my number 1 belt. So
and it was perfect at his trophy shop.
Exactly, and then that makes it even better, don't it? So I'm trying to see if what's in the center plate. If that's an eagle or a buzzard.
A buzzard.
Can you zoom in on it? Well, zoom in so we can tell what it is.
I like how everything's getting more zoomed in except the picture.
Yeah.
Let me switch to a different browser that's not stupid.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember what the center thing was. But
I like that it just says champion on it.
It didn't say tag on it at the top?
Oh, well, I couldn't tell.
I think it did. I think it just said tag champion. Tag team. I think it said champion at the bottom. Yeah, there wasn't much. And you know who I think had these belts? And he sold them? Kyle the Butler.
No, come on, Kyle.
I think he had them and sold them. He got them somehow. And he
was going through and buying everything there for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you threw a swerve in on me on that one.
See if we can zoom in on that.
It's not going to let me.
No, it ain't, is it?
It really doesn't want you to know.
No, it don't. It has some kind of big thing in the middle with the big plate looking gimmick there.
I know. We're gonna get around this. Hold on just 1 second.
This is great radio. Radio, whatever it is. However you listen to this thing here.
There we go. It only let me zoom in that much, but it does say tag team. Yeah, and it's got a generic little eagle gimmick there. I like that the main plate is not center or not. It's like a scroll.
Yeah, tell you, man, you can get gigged easy on that thing, and it wasn't. It was thick. I can remember it wasn't. It wasn't plastic.
I'm trying to tell what's on those side plates.
They're four squares, and they're opposite matchings. You know what I'm saying? Well, how am I saying?
Yeah, but what I mean, do they have anything in them or?
I don't think it's just a design. It's like a scribbly maybe design or something. There wasn't much to it, but I bet it's the first ones I ever had, so it meant a lot.
Yeah, man.
And then look at the leather. Boy, they didn't really. It's almost one length the whole way.
It's not very tapered at all.
They barely gave it a little width.
Look at that tan you were sporting, by the way.
You know why I had a tan like that?
Because you knew you were winning.
I'd be a champion, baby.
This is my championship tan, brother.
It was because where I worked, I worked outside. I worked at an apartment complex. I did grounds crew, so I was outside constantly. So I had a farmer's tan, but I had that full length scuba pullover that I wore, so you couldn't tell that I had a farmer's tan though.
There we go. We got a luscious Quentin Charisma appearance on here with the All-State Wrestling Tag Team Championship. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Just Shelbyville, Tennessee.
All right. Heck yeah.
That's my number one belt. Do you want to get some quick honorary mentions? This is really. I thought this was gonna be like really short, but this went really long.
Let's knock the honorable mentions out of here.
All right.
Mine I've kind of said as we went through. Mine were Southern tags, just because they were very similar than Southern Heavyweight.
Yeah. Mine were. Is that all yours? Okay. I had the Southern tag, the '80s Memphis Southern tag, and the Southern Heavyweight, and
I'm surprised the Southern Heavyweight's the only crossover we had.
Yeah. Well, no, to me it's not, because we're totally different on what we like. And the only reason why I like that one is because that's the first one I remember in Memphis. Then two, I got, of course, the WWF World Heavyweight title, Big Greenie. I love that. The only reason why I love that one is because we just got cable and just got the WOR and like had it for maybe a month, and that's when who it was tore up Backlund's belt, and they gave him that one. So that was like when I first started watching WWF. So I remember that. And then the Mid-South North America heavyweight title, the one for Watts, that big, I remember seeing it in the magazines, and I was just like amazed how big it was. And I've never seen anybody wearing it. I found one picture of Magnum T actually wearing it. Everybody else, all the pictures I found, everybody was holding it.
Yeah, I've seen the picture of Magnum wearing it too. That thing is ridiculous.
That's the only person I've ever seen wearing it, because that thing was a monster. And one more is the CWA World Heavyweight title. I love that belt.
Man, so much. I thought that was going to be your number one.
It was. I had it in my top 5, and then I got it, and then it got knocked out. That was my number 6. That was number 6. But and if you notice, have you seen the replicas? They're not white.
I didn't think the belt was white. I thought the belt was silver.
No, that's white. It was white. It was originally white.
Oh.
Now, if you look at some pictures toward the end, the leather, it looked like a different color. I don't know if the leather was changing, and the plate was silver, almost silver. It was still had a white tint to it, but it started out white. It was white belt. Because you look at when Billy Graham had it, superstar Billy Graham, it was white. So I don't know if they were cleaning it and it started coming off and it was getting really, it wasn't. But no, it was white.
Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and advertise this on here just because I see it and it's cool, and I wanted to tell Quentin about it, but I also wanted to help this guy out because I think it's neat. On Etsy, Bad Guy Designs has a CWA Heavyweight Championship pin of the main plate.
Yep.
Some of the colors on the flags are changed up because I noticed for some reason on the actual belt the Japanese flag colors are inverted.
It's reverse. Yeah.
But he's corrected it on this pin. But the pin's $5.
Oh, it's neat. It's a neat little pin.
Also known as the Case of Beer Championship.
Yeah. Why they call it that? I don't never.
I don't know. I don't know. So correct me
So
if I'm
that
wrong.
picture right there, that's white looking.
Yeah, I guess I can see that, or just dull.
But it's dull. But if you look at when Billy Graham had it, when it first was like the second guy to have it, I think it was really white. But it started, yeah. Because look at the leather, right? The leather was getting really warped. It was whoever made it, they cheaply made it, and they didn't use high dollar leather at all.
Well, it may have been because remember we were reading that thing about one of the NWA titles. It may have been. It was when they did the 10 pounds of gold was originally on red.
Yeah, the red. Yeah,
but it was on red felt or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's like the AWA prison belt. If you look at it, the first come out, and then look at it about a couple years later, the leather's totally different. The leather went bad on it fast. They said.
Yeah, so this may have been on felt. You know what I mean? And just
it could be
because it looks like it has a fabric appearance to it here.
That, or it was a really cheap leather and it started turning. Which could be, it could be either or.
Yeah. So this was the answer to their answer to like Lawler never getting a title win, right?
Basically, that's what they they basically made their own belt because they were NWA, AWA at the time. They were getting both back and forth, and I think I guess that was Jerry Jarrett's brainstorm was, well, let's make our own world belt, and that got over. And then which to me, especially as a kid, I loved it, and now I like gaudy belts. But if you're going to have world champion, you can't have them come out with that right there and be credible.
That was my next question. Would be like if it was a better belt,
it would have helped. It definitely would have helped.
Yeah, because it's
because you think at the time 10 pounds of gold, which I've never been a fan of, but it was nice gold belt, 10 pounds of gold, prestige, but just the look of it. Even a lot of people don't like the AWA inmate belt. I liked it, but that was just so it just looks so bad. I mean, really it does. But I like it because I like bad belts. But I mean, especially if you can find that picture of Superstar Billy Graham holding, it was white as can be, and it looked like. And I don't think any of it was. I think it was all painted. I don't think it was raised up at all. If it was, it wasn't much. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
You can tell in this picture that it is like indented a little bit, but that's probably
not much.
Like 2 millimeter.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure they had good intentions. The idea of it. Look at the one with Billy Robinson down there. See what that looks like.
I don't see one with Billy Robinson.
Yeah, back up, right above, and over here to the far. Keep it coming up right there. See, go back down, just a smidge right there. It's right beside Billy Graham.
Oh, is that Billy Robinson?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was Billy Robinson.
Yeah,
man, he aged quick. Yeah, I can see where it would come off as white.
I'm gonna find that one of Billy Graham because that was when it was first. I said I think he was the second guy that held it, second or third. So it was really white looking. But yeah, if you're trying to make it legit world champion compared to the other two that was out there, even the WWF belt at that time, it was the molded cast stuff. It wasn't really flamboyant, but it didn't look like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this looks like Jerry Jarrett didn't spend no money.
Yeah. And the thing is, he probably spent, I don't know. It looks like he didn't spend a lot of money on it, but I'm wondering if they planned up, it didn't, that ain't what it's supposed to look like when they thought of it. That's what I'm wondering. Because way you look at it on paper and say, man, that looks like a world heavyweight title.
Yeah, no.
So I'm wondering when they when he thought up to play him in Lawler, there's no way they both could have said that's going to be a good looking world title.
I like that this was like essentially your number 6 and you're burying it.
Well, I'm burying it because that's what everybody else. Because everybody, I like it, but I look at all of my belts that I liked.
We both definitely stayed within a genre.
Yeah. So I mean, it just. But for a world title, and you're going to try to make your audience think that you are world, it's going to be equivalent to what they've been seeing coming in there.
Yeah. I got that. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, it had to be that is not what they That's all that is. They wanted a world title. Was that the gimmick online when you order a world title from Wish, but this is what you get.
Yeah.
I think it's basically what it was back then. They had this big, and then they got it, and it was already made. They had to go with it.
Yeah. What you wanted, a picture of like the old NWA Cromrine belt, like what it was supposed to look like, and then got, it's the CWA world title.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but that's mine. That was fun. I can still talk about belts all night long.
Yeah, man. I know we've been on here a while and we got to go, but this has seemed like, but this has seemed like no time.
I thought it was gonna be short. I thought it was gonna be really short too. I was worried, like, man, it's gonna be too short.
We never have a short conversation.
Maybe when it gets to belts, I'll talk all night. So, all right, let's plug some people real fast and get on out of here.
Let me add one real quick. I want to plug my friend. I'm going to show the camera, even though they're not going to see us. So Vincent Barry. I did a podcast. He runs Wrestleville.com. I did a podcast with him, and he's got a couple other books out. But he sent me a copy of this. It's Lance by Chance: Wrestling as a Von Erich, the autobiography of Lance Von Erich. That
have you read it yet?
I haven't. I have not. Vincent sent it to me. He helped write it. So
I remember when it came out, and I was like, I thought it could be interesting because that whole situation down there got really sticky.
Yeah, but I flipped through it some. He's got some pictures in there and stuff like that. I guess one of the stories that I told during our interview and on the podcast is going to be in Vincent's next book. And let me actually go to Wrestleville real quick. He put out his first edition, and it's just stories from multiple different wrestlers, just road stories or any kind of story. And I'm trying to see what it's called here. He's in the T-shirt game as well. Okay, maybe he doesn't have his books on Wrestleville.com.
If he wants a good Gypsy Joe story, I can tell him a good Gypsy Joe story.
Oh, there we go. I'll pass that along for sure. I actually don't have his website on here, darn it. Because it's not on his Wrestleville.com. So I apologize for not being prepared. But his website's Wrestleville.com. He's got some cool merchandise as far as like, T-shirts and stuff like that. He's got a whole bunch of, podcasts, written interviews. It's right here in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm stupid. The book is literally called Wrestleville, the Pro Wrestling Vault. And it's just numerous stories from different guys. And while supplies last, there's an autographed label in every book. So in volume 1, he's got stories from Tim Storm, Bobby Fulton, Greg Anthony, Big Ramp, C.W. Anderson, Sean Hernandez, Dale Wild, Josh Lewis, Mr. USA, Chris Michaels, James Beard, Chaz Taylor, Damian Wayne, and Van Horn. Also on that page, there's Lance by Chance, which I got the copy of. And coming soon, I believe he said he's hoping by next year, will be Wrestleville, the Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2, which I don't know which story he picked. I was just kind of talking. So one of my stories will be in there, and I just signed 20 labels to be put in books. So I'll be in a book.
Awesome.
Cool. And it's not on the just apprehended list or anything. So I'll be in a book.
All right.
All right. And now the actual plugs.
Yeah, well, no, that
was a plug. Yeah, that was a plug for Vincent, not for me being in a book.
Yeah, but while we're on books, go check out crowbarpress.com. Get that Burt Prentice book.
Yeah.
Any book you want, except for the Rocky Johnson book. Can't have that.
Yeah. Any book. I plan on getting. We'll probably have a couple gift cards. A couple generic gift cards on Christmas because that's what I tend to get, and I'm all right with that. So probably going over crowbarpress.com. You can also visit Luthez' UWA over on Facebook, our buddy Quentin's Passion Project.
Yeah.
As more and more.
I posted this week because I've been trying to find pictures of belts all week. So I didn't post anything this week.
But as more and more UWA becomes unearthed.
Yep. What else we got? My blank.
Yeah, we got Chris Michaels' book Indestructible. Contact him on Facebook or any social media really to get your copy of that. We got our friend Monte Carlo over at WMF Medium Rare on YouTube, and I do want to point out I just noticed that the old Cartel Facebook page is fired back up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Wonder if the cartel might start popping up at some independent shows in Middle Tennessee.
Huh. I don't know.
I'll take Greg's spot and be Monty's bodyguard. I'm not nearly as big and scary looking as Greg, but
it's been about a month, so he should be dropping them something pretty soon. Next few weeks, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the last one was him versus the co-owner of WMF.
Yeah, so that's been about what 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So he should be dropping something next couple of weeks, something new. Go to his page, his YouTube, like and subscribe. Go to our YouTube, like and subscribe.
Yes, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave a comment. It means the world to us. Same with it, whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Give us a like. If there's ratings, give us ratings. We appreciate anyone and everyone who listens. And the last thing I've got is, if you can, please go over to Fight TV and sign up for NWA Power. We just dropped a little Christmas special, both on Fight TV and on the NWA YouTube page. It's pretty fun. Give it a watch.
Also, go and like and subscribe and support all the people that we use our videos from on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, without those guys having that stuff on there, we wouldn't be able to watch it because I don't know how to do anything like that, download stuff on YouTube. So yeah, go show them some love because, like I said, we use their stuff. So go like and subscribe, give them some love. Anything else?
I just want to give quick photo credits to the ones what I used and what I will be using in the YouTube. The ones I know is I use Kayfabe Memories. I use Dave Milliken. I use Top Rope Belts. That's the ones I can think of offhand that I used. So thank you very much. It's totally their photos. I have no pictures. Oh, and the Pro Wrestling Museum in Waterloo, Iowa, where I got the Luthez pictures.
Where I got mine, I have no idea.
One of them was Quentin's camera in 1993.
Yeah. No, that's 92.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you said 93.
I might have. I meant 90. It's supposed to be 92, not 90. I guess I did say 90. I probably did say 92. It's 92. I'm sorry if I did. Yeah, it's 92. Actually, want to thank Mark Gordy for giving me the dates on them because I had a ballpark of what dates they were when we won and lost the belts, and I got those from him. He had it right off of that. He helped me on that. So shout out to my buddy Mark. And you got anything else to add?
Nothing beyond, man. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, all that. Whatever you're doing right now, enjoy it with your family and friends.
That's right. All right. Well, if you're done, I'm done. Chick Forner, she's done. Jeremiah Plunkett with Christmas. Hey, that's me. Thanks for listening. God bless.
Bye-bye, everybody.